of you have data set ready to publish. So just while we are doing the exercises on data capture and while we are standardizing the data from field notes and logs that we have for data capture exercise, you can already start thinking of like how you can standardize your own data set when you're working on your own data. So we'll have a total of 3 exercises today. I think you have the link to the data capture section, right? So we'll just follow that. Um, I have already reviewed the standards and Darwin core presentation with you in the first session. Because we had so many exercises today, I wanted to give some time for the exercise. I've pasted the link for data capture section of our training module if you want to refer to. So we will start the session with based on what you have reviewed for the Darwin Core Quick Reference Guide, there is an exercise. I will share my screen. I think let me share my desktop overall. You can see my data capture section, right? So
Yes.
this presentation is what I have already reviewed with you. So we'll be doing this first exercise. Please download this practice exercise set and refer to the Darwin Core Quick Reference Guide. So this is the exercise sheet we have. This is the verbatim fields. The fields, what we commonly call it. And what we need to do in group is to find the correct Darwin core term for each of these terms. We have 10 examples, so you just need to discuss in your group and decide which Darwin core term would fit for these verbatim fields that we have for the example data set. So this exercise is quite simple without, I think, spending more time, we should start the. But I don't saying now. Make use maybe 5 minutes or something like that, and see if everybody has the same answer. So anyone who has completed, Melissa, you want to say something?
Yeah, just like want to also remind you that this is not the only breakout session today, so we will have
Yeah.
like more discussion later. So it just like this session is just to guide you like follow the step-by-step thing, and then you will know more about the Darwin core terms.
Yeah, we have 2 more breakout rooms and presentations also. So hopefully we can understand. But anyways, we are always there to help you understand even after the
Yeah.
workshops.
And I would just also want to like add something. Sorry, like it's really good if you already like finish before the session. It's like you are really good participants for that. But if not complete yet, we can still like discuss in the session, Zoom session. It's just to want to clarify this.
So maybe may I ask any of the participants to quickly volunteer who have completed their exercise set to share the screen, and maybe we can discuss from that. Anyone who has completed all the fields? Yes, Nick, please. Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Yes.
can I volunteer for this?
Oh,
Oh, there are 2 volunteers, so we can
Okay.
we can share
Okay.
each other's.
go for
Okay.
it. Go for it.
Go for it, Nick.
You go. You
Please.
go.
Yeah, just share it. The first one who share it, just do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So please.
Yeah, so for the first one, it was a scientific name because the species name is provided here. So I guess that the Darwin core term, the correct one is scientific name for it. Um, the second one was the longitude, and because it's decimal, I think the decimal longitude is the correct term here. Please correct me if I'm wrong in any of those. And then the common name is vernacular name. And then collected, this is the event date, and collected by, or the name of the collector is recorded by. We had a discussion about identified by and recorded by, but I think recorded by is the correct term here. Then
Abdullah,
the
one
being a
moment.
juvenile. Okay.
One moment. For number
Sure.
4, collected and date, the date is not in ISO, what is it, A601, right? So it should
Yeah.
be verbatim event date and not event date. Does
So
everyone
much.
agree with my statement?
Can you please repeat it? It's not clear.
I will say again, since the date is not in ISO 8601 format, the field, I will call that as verbatim event date and create an event date and convert it into the right format and put it there. So this is verbatim event date.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I can add more something. Verbatim is the one like you may see that there are many Darwin core terms like start with verbatim. That is like led you to record the original value of that field, so that you can if like because when you are in the field for field trip, and then when you record the first time on paper maybe, and you can like when you do the transcription just like put it as the same as the original value in the verbatim fields. And then you can transcribe or like correct it or clean it if it's the wrong one into like for this example, you can put the original value in verbatim event date and transcribe it to event date, the right format of the Darwin core term. Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Melissa.
You cannot hear me or not really understand? Okay, so this like example, this like verbatim event date is for you to record the original value from the field, and then you can like transcribe it to event date this field to the right format, to the adjusted format in the event date field. Okay, VJ.
Yeah, so in the on the herbarium labels or collection labels, many times the date is written in a different format, and it's always a good idea to preserve it as it is when we are digitizing. So that's the reason, however the date is written, we write it in verbatim. Sometimes it even use the Roman numerals in between rather than Indo-Arabic numerals to write the date. Like the month is typically written in as XI or XII for 12, things like that. So we preserve that in verbatim event date, and then we interpret it in event date. So that's the reason we are using verbatim field here, because this date could be 1927 December 3rd, or it could be 2012 March 27. We don't know. It is in the way it is written. So it's uh, always a good idea to maintain what was originally on the label and then write our interpretation in event date. So that's the reason we are calling this as verbatim event date field. Jamla?
You actually partly answered my question, but I was wondering, do we always like do that with every like data if like to keep the original, and then I thought we can just write it in the right format and then like I don't know if you understand my question.
So
Or
yeah,
we always have to preserve the original and keep it on the data and then write the right format.
So my answer to that is typically if you are interpreting from a label or interpreting from someone else's handwritten records, you keep those originals in verbatim. If you are the person who have collected the data, then you can directly write into event date field because then you know that what exactly it is. So if that's how we typically do it. Yeah, Lily.
Sorry for my disconnection. There was a power outage. But just to add on this verbatim field, just to let you know, if you see quick reference guide, verbatim field is not available for all of the terms, only for some. So for those who the where we have the term called verbatim event date or verbatim scientific name. So if that's available, so you can write it in that. Otherwise, you can just, if the term verbatim is not available, you can just quickly standardize it and then present in your data. I just came in during this verbatim discussion. So did we complete the discussion for all the terms?
No, we went back to number 4. Now we can go ahead and quickly look at the
Uh,
others, which
yeah.
yeah.
So
So,
collector's name
Yeah.
is there, the one who have
yes,
collected the data. So
recorded
recorded
by.
by. Uh,
And then the given one at the life stage.
mhm.
This is correct. And then because we have the latitude in not decimal, then we use the
Yes.
verbatim latitude, different
Yes,
from
that.
the other one. And then number 8 is description of a locality. We have a discussion around this. Is it locality or verbatim locality?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
my understanding was locality for this one.
Mhm.
And then for the accession number, this is the catalog number.
Yes, catalog number of the
And
specimen. Right.
yeah, and then this comment is the occurrence remark. And we also had a discussion about this, whether it a measurement remarks or occurrence remark. Also, my understanding is this occurrence remarks.
Mhm. That's what we also have, like when we were discussing this exercise, we also have this particular term for this because there is like the occurrence of the species has been described, right? And remarks is field where you can write such extra information. There is also other field on like taxon remark and things like that. So if you have any other remarks about taxon, you can add that in taxon remark. If the remark is about occurrence, you can add that in occurrence remark. So I think this is fine. Um,
Yeah,
I have a
should I stop
question.
sharing?
yes.
One question, please. Is it
Yes.
catalog number NO or number with full letters,
I
with
think
complete letters?
In Darwin core term, it's written in catalog like this, catalog number like this with full
Yeah.
spellings.
Okay, thank you.
Um, So, as I think Visa mentioned in the chat, the Darwin Core Quick terms is more than 180 terms. So, it's not easy for us to remember every term. So, this exercise, I think this is also one of the reasons the exercise has become difficult for us today. It's always handy, the Darwin Core Quick Reference Guide. We can quickly go back and check which term fits into the data that we have. That's what we still do after years of standardizing the data. We still have to refer to the Darwin Core Quick Reference Guide and see based on the data that publisher has which term fits into the Darwin Core terms, which term fits into that. So please keep it handy. It will be very very yeah, useful for you. Can you stop sharing, Abdullah? I think we should move to next sessions. We have do we have any? I know there's confusion, but I hope it will get clearer when you like try using it more often, and obviously we are always there to you with that. Nick, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I don't think the accession number is clear. What could you explain a bit more about why it's a catalog number. Catalog numbers generally refer to something that is held by an institution. Accession numbers are different numbers than catalog numbers. And the example makes it sound like it's more like a field number, which I think would be a record number or material sample ID.
Uh, my understanding, I mean, I'm not from a collection field, so I do not know the difference quite clearly. Anyone that wants to add on that?
Can VJ suggested depends on how the collection is maintained. But what it seems like material sample ID might be a better general term or record number rather than catalog number.
I think, when you have your data and you know what field you have in hand, it's very flexible for you to, use the terms according to what you think is right. So for your case, if that's material sample ID is what you think will be relevant for the number that you have, you can obviously use the Darwin core field term. And another one you suggested was what was it? Field number, right? So yeah, field number
Or
could also.
record number or something like that. Yeah. Let's see what Dorothy's entered. Material ID is a specific subsample. So catalog number. But this the whole specimen. I think this is a complicated term.
Yeah,
Material ID,
the reason
ma-
yeah, go ahead.
material ID could also mean DNA sample or slides, etc. But catalog number actually means a record or natural specimen.
I think field number or record number, if relevant, could be used if that's a field number for your data or
I
something rather than
I
catalog number.
think, yeah, also the definition slightly differs if you're looking at a herbarium or a insect collection or a fossil collection or a mammal collection, where in mammals the bones are kept separately, the skin is kept separately, tissue samples are there. In insect collection, it's whole, the same thing in most cases. So uh, as I mentioned, I have seen a lot of discussions around it and not
I guess
100% sure how to interpret it one way or the other.
it's you don't know if it's a field number, so it'd be hard to say it's a field number. Material sample ID might be the best general.
Mm.
Anyway, that's my
Yeah, we can always continue this discussion. We have like still two more sessions and whole session today, but we need to rush because there's still a lot of exercises and presentation left. So for the next part, I will be giving, you have already watched the video on Darwin GBIF supported data types, right? So I'll just quickly remind you through a quick presentation, and then we can go on another breakout for discussing. Let me take out my slide first. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So as I've already mentioned, I think it was also mentioned in the first day during Andrew's presentation that the dataset types that GBIF supports. So we'll have a quick look at different dataset types and how we can fit our data into these dataset types based on Darwin Core standard, the standard that we are using. Please let me know if my slide doesn't change. So currently GBIF supports 4 types of dataset. As I've mentioned in the first day, GBIF is working on its new model, but for now, these are the 4 types of dataset that is supported. Starting from the first and the very simplest one, that is the dataset metadata. So this is basically descriptive information about your dataset. It does not contain the actual record of species. So this type of data set can be useful for sharing when, for example, your records are not ready to be shared, but you still would like the users to know that data set exists and is or soon will be published. So this is when data set metadata can be published. All other three types of data set contains the actual record of species. Starting from the first one, species checklist. This is the list of species within any geographic area or within any thematic area. So, for example, this could be a list of invasive species within any country. So this will just include the list of species and not other, information on locality or dates. If we have locality and dates information, we can include those records as occurrence only dataset. This is the most common form of dataset that's shared in GBIF. So as I said, apart from the list of species as in checklist, we'll also have information on when the species was observed and where the species was observed. And lastly, the most complex form of dataset that we have in GBIF for now is the sampling event dataset. And all the exercise that we have today will be based on this particular dataset. So what difference is there between occurrence and sampling event is that sampling event will have two data set, one containing information on all the sampling methodologies or the event effort that we have made, sampling effort that we have made in the field. And then the next data set will contain information on the occurrence records of the species. So that's why we call it a bit complex. Again, the first type is the checklist, and the examples could be a list of species in a protected area or national or thematic list of species or IUCN red list or at national, regional, or local level. This is a template. GBIF provides template for each of the data set that you have, and you can refer to that. So this is a template.
Slide is stuck.
Okay.
It's actually stuck halfway through. I don't know why. Yeah, now we can see.
And now it changed.
Okay. So as I was mentioning, this is a template for taxon data GBIF has provided. So here each unit will be taxon referring to taxon and not the occurrence of the individuals. Basically, because it is a checklist, we cannot have same taxon twice in our list, because obviously that will as my slide, can you see the template one? You can see, right?
Yes, now we can see.
In taxon data, we'll have information on the taxonomic information of a species, including full name, authorship, any relationship to other taxa, and so on. So based on the data we have, we can provide information on taxon data. The next type, the most common, is the occurrence data, and I'll be giving some examples of the occurrence data, where the occurrence data can come from. So the first example is specimen and natural history collection materials. So this can be from herbarium, zoological, or paleontological collections from natural history museums. But we should also note that other than the collections that preserves living organism, such as like geology or human artifact collection, these are not these do not fall under the GBIF scope. So the main unit here will be specimen, and we can have multiple specimen of the same species in our data set. Second, where the occurrence data set can come from is the literature that has already been published or in press, like reports, books, and other documents, PhD or master's thesis, literatures like that. We can extract occurrence records from the literatures, but we should just be cautious not to share any duplicate data because sometime the data might already be in gbif.org. So we should just check that before we publish occurrences from the literatures. And we should also always contact the data owner first before compiling occurrences from the literature to ask for their permission to publish them to GBIF. Next is where the occurrence data can come from, obviously, is the fieldwork records and notes when we do like ecological surveys or any environment impact assessment or citizen science projects. When we observe the species in the field, we can compile the occurrences from that. So these are the examples of where the occurrence data can be compiled or can come from. My slide is stuck, right? Has it changed to template? I'm sorry, I'm having this
No.
problem.
Still on
Not
fieldwork.
yet.
Okay. I think I'll stop share and quickly share again. So this is the template for an occurrence data set, and as contrast to the checklist data set, the main unit here will be individual of the species. So we can definitely have more than one occurrences of the same species in our data set. That will obviously not create duplicate because we'll have different identifier, different date of observation, and different locality of observation for that species. And any other information could be like where the species was found, how it was, how the data was collected, and by whom the data was collected. So the last type of data set is the event data. Why I called it complex, I will show you in this slide here. Can you see the template?
Yes.
Yes.
So why I called it complex is because we'll have two data set, as you can see in the screen here. The first one describes the methodology that we have used in the field, event, basically any sampling methodology, sampling effort, sample size value, and things like that that we have used in the field. And then the second data set will contain the actual occurrence record of the species. So if you see in the example here, if you look at the event in row 3, with 3502 TR056S6 event. And if you look at the same event ID in the occurrence extension, there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 occurrences of the species that has been noted in the field. And that is how we actually link the base or core file and the extension. So the sampling event file here is the event core and the occurrence is the extension. That is what event data is about, and we will also be practicing that later in the exercise. Sometimes we might have additional information, as those can include remote data that's coming from remote sensing tools, maps and satellite data, from camera trap, for example, pictures of wildlife, and if we have audios and video recordings. But most of the time, this information will be supplement and can be provided as an extension to the data that we have. Slide is not changing again. So yes, so now we will discuss about how we can fit our data into existing Darwin core concepts and data set. So as I have mentioned, there are three type of data set with actual species records. Depending on the data set type we have, if we have event data set, we can use Darwin core event. If we have occurrence data set, we can use Darwin core occurrence. And if we have checklist data, we can use Darwin core taxon. These are the three cores that is available in GBIF for you to use. Any field that is not available in these three cores, we should provide these as an extension to the core. So for example, as we also discussed in the first session, if you have links to multimedia images or sound files, if you have identification history for the species, if you have individual measurement of the individual, these can be provided as an extension to the core file, these three core files. And the cores and extensions are linked through an unique ID that we provide with each type of data set. So for event data set, it would be event ID, occurrence data data set would be occurrence ID, and taxon data set would be taxon ID. And we should use the same ID in the extension as well so that we can link the records between the cores and extension. Sometimes we can also use the core itself as an extension. As you saw in the example in the event data set, event was the core, but occurrence was the extension. So sometimes that's also possible. Another example could be for taxon data. If you are doing taxon core, then you can provide the occurrence of the species as an extension as well. So this is also something possible. Sorry, I can see that my slide has not changed, right?
It has
Mm,
not yet.
it's not changing.
God, I don't know. So sorry about this.
Oh, the joys of technology, Lily. It's
Yeah, I mean, so once you have standardized your data, it can be published in GBIF using one of the tools mentioned here. Like you can use Integrated Publishing Toolkit. That is the most commonly used tool within GBIF community. Or you can use API and Living Atlases of Australia. But what we'll be learning in this course is how to use the GBIF developed Integrated Publishing Toolkit for publishing your data set. And then once IPT transforms your data into Darwin Core Archive, and when after it has been indexed by GBIF, the data will be searchable and downloadable via gbif.org. Yes, with each type of data set, there is specific data quality requirements for you to pay attention to. So you can find these on gbif.org/data quality requirements for each type of data set. Some terms, for example, the identifiers. So taxon ID, occurrence ID, and event ID. These are required for all of the data set that we have. There are also other terms that are required, and some terms are strongly recommended, such as the coordinates or the locality information for the occurrences that we are sharing. And there are many terms that GBIF says share if available, but we encourage publishers to share as much information, as much information as they have within a data set. So just in summary, choosing a dataset type, I will just quickly summarize so you might have a better idea. If you have only the description of your dataset, like how you collected the dataset, who collected the dataset, what is the taxonomic scope, and so on, but your records are not ready to be published in GBIF, please go with metadata only dataset. If you have a list of species, you do not have the coordinates or date of observation, you do not have anything but just a checklist of species, then please go with the checklist dataset. If you have the date of observation, if you have the locality information, if you have the coordinates of the species observation, then go with the occurrence data set. And as I said, this is the most commonly published type of data set in GBIF. And lastly, if we have followed a specific sampling protocol when we are collecting the data, if you have, individual occurrences within each sampling events that we have, then please go with the sampling event data set. And the only difference is that you need to create two data set as compared to checklist and occurrence, which will only have one data set. So this is just a summary of how you can choose a data set type. Now, I think we are lagging in time because of all this, but we will go to the breakout room and quickly discuss, like within our group, what kind of data do we individually work, and if whether we plan to publish it in GBIF or not, and how would you publish them to GBIF, like depending on the video that you have reviewed and this presentation, which core will you use, event, occurrence, or taxon, and if there is any additional information, which extension would also you like to use. So this is the discussion we'll have in the breakout. I will stop sharing my screen and will request my colleagues to open the breakout rooms.
Welcome back. I hope like at least some of you like complete the exercise in the breakout session. But it's okay. We still have the last part of breakout session. Okay, and Lily.
Yeah. Hi everyone.
We
Come back. So did you get a chance to discuss? Everyone got the chance? Okay. So because we are lagging behind the time, so I would just ask one of the group, any group, to volunteer to quickly summarize what kind of data their group members are working on, whether they plan to publish it in GBIF, and what kind of cores or extensions would they like to use. One or two. Any group. Please volunteer.
Okay, I can volunteer. Is that okay?
Okay, Rita and then Abdullah. So two groups.
Okay. So in our group 3, we have then data on algae, benthic communities, fish community as well. We have data on CITES, Convention of Migratory Species as well. So that's more general. And most of us were already aware of the type of data that we would have to submit on GP for the core to use. Although there were some doubts, especially on the algae, because it's an herbarium on the museum as well of Kuwait. So how to process that data. But in general, most of us have the idea that the original thought it's what it is. And then we have sampling event data set with event and occurrence score as well. The possibility of extensions with photos, also environmental data. That's also another possible extensions. And we also talked about the different extensions. And then I even asked if there's a link where we can know what are the different extensions that can be added. And that's it, to be really quick.
That's very good. So maybe after this discussion, even if you were confused in the beginning, you might have now idea of which core to use and what extension to use, right? So have you got the link to extensions that you were just talking about?
No, but Vijay said he would send.
Oh, okay. We can paste rs.gbif.org extensions link here so that everyone can have access to currently supported core is 3 type of core. We all know that, but the extensions that are registered in GBIF, all the extensions that you can use. So it's in the link that Vijay has provided. Group 2, Abdullah, would you like to?
No? Yeah. So the majority of the members of the group is around sampling events and the occurrence data only. I would say some members working on birds biodiversity. I'm working on museum fossil collections. And Farhan also working on the Miocene sampling of some marine mammals, and John working on the coral reef. So it's a wide diversity of invertebrates and vertebrates. And it's basically either sampling event or the occurrence data. We also discussed the difference between the occurrence and the sampling and events. Most people are interested in the multimedia related extensions and measurements or fact extensions. And the majority is with the core, the occurrence, the basis of record, the occurrence ID, the catalog number, or the Darwin core fields such as country code and the GBS location and that kind of stuff. So yeah, mainly people working in forests, fossil data, and coral reef biodiversity, and either occurrence or sampling events. And also we had a discussion about asking for customized extensions. I don't know if this is included within the link you're about to send or not, but we discussed something similar to this. That was great too.
Sorry, what about customized extension are you talking about?
If we can create a customized extension, or if we can work within a customized extension instead of the already established ones, if we have an idea for a customized extension.
Um, I think that's something not currently possible, I guess, right? You just have to use all the extensions that's registered within GBIF for now. But based on your requirement, maybe you can, that's something you can obviously communicate and see if something that you need is not already there. Because there's a lot of extensions you can review and see if your requirement fits into one of the extensions that's already there. And obviously, it's not like you can use only one extension with a core, right? So for example, if you have multimedia information and you also have measurements of the individual, you can obviously include those information in a simple multimedia extension and then another extended measurement or fact extension. So that's always possible. You can use as many extension as you would like. Thank you. Thank you for quickly summarizing about your group. Sorry, I am not able to give everyone time to summarize, although we had that plan. Let's move into another section of talking a little bit about data quality, what kind of information needs to be there, what we should consider while we are capturing the data, and then we'll have the real exercise of, uh, pulling out the information from a data log to a sheet. Dataset file, course and extension. Let me start by sharing my screen. So I'll be talking briefly about data capture, how we can maintain the quality while we are capturing our data. So the first and foremost thing for us, I think that's important will be to that we develop a workflow for ensuring the data quality, because it is essential at every step of the data mobilization process. And specifically when we are capturing the data, if we pay attention to the data quality and try to improvise it in the beginning phase, then it will be obviously easy for us while we are cleaning or validating the data later on in the data workflow stage. So this is an example of a data quality workflow. You can see it begins with a collector collecting the specimens, another person doing data entry or capturing the data, standardizing it, other person's group of people working on editing, validating, and cleaning, some people working on publishing, and also the user label is shown in this workflow. So data quality is not the sole responsibility of the first person who's collecting the specimen, for example. Every person has to be equally responsible, because sometimes even after paying careful attention, there might still be some of the things that you need to standardize or some of the things that you need to clean in the process. And feedback loop needs to be there so that also it's equally important to document what changes have been made in the data. Once we have the data workflow, that is also very important that it is decided at the institutional level. Once we have the data workflow in place, the data capture itself can begin. And we have to have different types of information. We have to think about different type of information when we are trying to capture data. That's basically on these 4 topics: taxonomic, spatial, collection, and descriptive information. So if we have information on these 4 main topics, our data could be more useful for the users to use. We'll be talking about that in the coming slides as well. So starting with the taxonomic information, we all know when we are talking about biodiversity data, without taxonomic information, our data really does not make sense. And without taxonomic information, especially scientific name or name of the species, the data actually cannot be published. So this is the main information we must at least have in our data set. It's not only the names, but also the status of the name, like whether it's synonym or accepted name, the references to the scientific name, authorship, dates and location, if we have identification, and so on, any IDs that you may have. So these are the information that we can include in a taxonomic information. And some of the issues occurring with taxon information could be, for example, we might have missing data. Even if we say that even if we have subspecies, sometimes species might be missing. So or sometimes we might miss the scientific name itself overall. missing data, inconsistent data. Sometimes we might have incorrect typos or some characters that should not be there. Non-atomic values, for example, we cannot have SU subspecies as in SUBSP or SP dot written in any of the scientific name column or the higher taxonomy. That's not valid when we are dealing with Darwin core term. If we are uncertain about the binomial nomenclature and if we have duplicates in our data. So these are the things that we need to just consider or think of to avoid these mistakes. The next very important information, obviously, we all know that will be very useful when users are using the data as the spatial data, geographic information on the occurrence of species. This could be very valuable when people are doing niche modeling or studies about species distribution. But one thing we need to note that sometimes when we are dealing with specimens, old specimens, or sometimes even fieldwork notes, sometimes we might not have the exact location or coordinates of the occurrence of species. Although it is very much recommended to be shared the coordinates, sometimes we might not have that. We might only have textual spatial information, and we can obviously use any relevant or verified sources to georeference the location, textual location that is provided. As far as possible, we should directly record coordinates on the field with also the uncertainty of the coordinates that has been provided and the geodetic datum that has been used. But as I think we discussed this much in the first day about the sensitive sharing of information about sensitive species. That's something we have already talked about. It can be generalized. The coordinates can be generalized or not even shared at all in some cases. So this is some of the spatial mistakes that we need to avoid. You can see in the map there is this reverse coordinate between USA and China, and we can see this mirror effect of occurrences. Sometimes when we put 0 values in decimal longitude or latitude field, artificial line will be shown of occurrences in either Greenwich or the equator side. You can see in the slide here in Greenwich and also in the equator. Sometimes we can unknowingly reverse the coordinates, use longitude in latitude and latitude in longitude field. So that's also something we need to pay attention to. And GBIF always recommends for you to share the geodetic datum along with the coordinates that you have shared. In absence of geodetic datum, GBIF refers to it to as WGS84, which is most of the case for even if we are using GPS and things like that. The next information is on collection. So any information about the collector name, collection or observation protocol, habitat, and other factors, these can be very important when we are using the data. So depending on the data set type, you can share information on how the species was collected, who collected it, what is the sampling methodology that he used, and so on. So these informations are also very useful. The things that we need to consider or keep in mind is to use the correct collector name or have consistency when you're using vocabulary for describing habitats or soils, and also sometimes thinking about the completeness of data. For example, when we are describing species, it's when we are describing the flowering period or color of the leaves, just need to make sure that the data is complete and we use the consistent vocabulary in all of our data set. Lastly, any descriptive information you might have within your data set, description about the species, description about any occurrence or taxon that you have within your data set. So just need to make sure the data is complete as far as possible and always consistent with, using the consistent vocabulary all over the data set. So these are quickly the things that we need to consider when we are trying to capture our data. These are the 4 topics that we need to have data on so that our data could be more fit for use for data users. So this presentation you have already reviewed in detail in the data capture section also. So maybe we can move on the exercise that I was talking about. So if you have, I will just quickly like to ask if you have downloaded the data capture log files and the template in the data capture module. Maybe I can quickly show you where to find it if anybody has any confusion.
Lily, I think we will have the break
Oh,
for
yeah,
before the
yeah.
exercise. Yeah.
Okay, but before the break, maybe I'll show them where to find so that if they have not downloaded, they can download it now. So this is the data capture section of the course that we have sent you. If you scroll to the bottom, there's this exercise 1C, which I also mentioned in my email. You have to download this capture log files, and you have to also download the capture template. We'll be working on this template, looking at the logs, how to capture the data set in a standard Darwin core format. I'll quickly show you one record that I have filled based on the first log, but maybe after 5 minutes break that you take.
Okay, welcome back. Please give me thumbs up if you are back now.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. Thanks everyone for your active reactions and give the
Andrew,
floor back to Lily.
and Andrew has something to add before that. He has his hands up. No?
Sorry, just
I
I put it
think
up
he
by
just
accident.
wants to thumbs up.
I'm putting in some guidance about that earlier discussion around
Oh,
accession number in the chat.
yeah,
So
because
we'll
you
have
had
it there.
something on the chat as well. I thought you would
Yeah,
like to
there's a
say.
longer train coming in now, but I'll put it in the chat so everyone can follow it there.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew. So before we move on to the next exercise, I think you have now downloaded the log files and the template. One thing that's made easier for you in this revised course is you already have the template in hand. You just need to decide which data fits into which Darwin core term, into either it's in the core or extension. So please have that file ready with you. I will share my screen and I will quickly try to show you how I have filled one information based on the first log that we have, event 88212. So you can see there is a recorder ID, date, yes, site name, site ID, start time and end time, location description, agricultural fields, latitude and longitude, air temperature, sun sign, wind strength. And then you have another table that describes the species that were recorded in this particular event. So you need to first figure out, based on the two types of method that has been shared, whether it's transient count method or point count method, whether it's transient or point. So if you read through the exercise, it clearly tells you point count is done for this particular survey for 15 minutes. So my assumption is when the time exceeds 15 minutes, it will be another transient method. So you have this template with you, event core, because this is an event data set. If you read through the use case scenario, so event data set with occurrence of butterflies, and there is also information on environmental factors such as air temperature, sunshine, and wind strength, which we can obviously provide in the extended measurement or fact extension. So starting with the event ID is something you can create based on any unique identifier, or event ID is something you can create on your own. So for ease for this exercise, event number has been given to you, so you can just use, I'm using the abbreviation of Swedish Butterfly Network and then the event number that is given to us to form event ID. Then event date, as we discussed before, because it is provided in other format, you can obviously add another term where we call it verbatim event date, and then add that particular format here, and then you can standardize it in event date. That's something possible, right? And then in event time, because we have start and end time, we can provide it as range. We're using the slash because it is in Sweden, so +2, it's time according to UTC. So if you do not provide the plus or minus to UTC, then it will be considered as UTC. So please also keep that in mind. Then please note this orange field that we have, peachy color field that we have is from the Humboldt extension that is very closely related to event core. There has been some discussion going on to combine Humboldt core and Humboldt extension into event core. Maybe that's something that's going to happen in future. But for now, just for the ease to have many, rather than having many extensions, we just decided to have these done in the event core itself. So you can choose what kind of information is provided in the data log, and you can fill the data type, data in Darwin core terms accordingly. So sample size value and sample size unit is not exactly mentioned for this particular survey. For point count method, we know that it's 15 minutes and sample size value is, I think, 25 meter. So we can fill that for the other logs. Then habitat, its location, it's mentioned as agricultural fields, so we can write agricultural fields. We know that the event type, it's the survey that's been done, and the sampling protocol, because it exceeds 15 minutes, we are assuming it as fixed route pollard walk transect. Yes, Joan, you have your hands up.
Can you scroll back to the sample size, the purple ones? Where did they go?
Yes.
Yeah, sample size value. And so if this was a point count, so do you just put the value, so 25, and then for unit you would put meters?
Yes, if it's a
Or
point count method, you do that like in
but
sample
how do
size
you do
value.
the time then? Because so both of those are sample units, if you get my
Sorry,
drift, because it's both.
15 minutes is event duration value and event duration unit. And I think
Okay.
it's mentioned in the use case scenario that sample size value and sample size unit. In point count method, it is mentioned somewhere in use case scenario that it's 25 meter, I think, or
Okay.
2.5 meters. Sorry, I'm really confused
And
about that. But
is there standardization on how the unit is written? Is it M or is it meters or it's flexible?
I think it's flexible as far as I know, but I'm not quite sure on that. You can obviously use different units as you have, but I'm not sure whether it's like M or meters. Maybe someone can help me confirm that from Darwin Core Quick Reference Guide. They might have if it needs to be in a standard format. The examples would be like that. Maybe my colleagues can help confirm that from Darwin Core Quick Reference Guide.
Thank you.
So should I go on? So in the fixed route, this is how we guess that this sampling method. We know that this sampling protocol is fixed route pollard walk transect, because it says in point count it's only done for 15 minutes and it's more than that. So this is the sampling protocol. So these are all the terms from Humboldt extension. Again, I repeat. So is abundance reported? Obviously, the number of the individual is reported. So true. Is absence reported? Absence is not reported for any species. So false. Right. Verbatim target scope is the target scope is butterfly for sure. Target taxonomic scope is Lepidoptera, as we all know. And sampling effort is reported. Yes, in use case scenario, we have the sampling effort reported. Sampling effort unit, because one person, it is mentioned that one person does that sampling for 15 minutes or more than that, for depending on the methods that has been used. So sampling effort unit will be one and sampling effort value will be person. Sampling performed by, because we have this recorded ID, we can just quickly form a ID for the recorder. So 266 SBN recorder ID 266, or you can simply write recorder ID is 266. And then we also have site ID. So location ID is a term that can fit this information. We can say site ID 207 or also combine SBN with it. Locality, Mansabola, we can provide it as locality. We have decimal latitude and longitude also given here. And geodetic datum, if you read through the use case scenario, it's given there, EPSC 3857, the geodetic datum, that one is used for this survey. So this is the event core. You can see if you can fit more information or if you can extract more columns depending on the column that is already there. For example, I did for this particular field, right? There was event ID, but then event date is given in verbatim format. So we can use that to capture the verbatim information, and we can standardize it in event date Darwin core term. Next is the extension. We have the extension that is very much required for an event dataset. It is there with every event dataset. So these are the species that are recorded. So based on this, you can just quickly fill. Remember, this is what I was talking about when linking core and extension is you should use the same event ID in both so that we know that this particular occurrence is from the first event here. Okay, so we use the same event ID. We create a unique occurrence ID for each of the occurrence record. We need to have this occurrence ID with each of the occurrence records we have. This is like mandatory. So you just try to make it as unique as possible. I've just combined event date and given some numbers in the backward to make it unique. So I'm doing this for second species. So you can see individual count is 2. So I have written here. So it is up to you whether you use individual count or organism quantity along with organism quantity type. So if you decide to use organism quantity, please it must be paired with organism quantity type. We can say 2 individuals. Sometimes the biodiversity might be recorded in biomass or percentage or something like that. Then you can write percentage of the percentage, and then you can write your biomass or something like that. So it's for individual, you can obviously use individual count, but for other measurements you can use organism quantity paired with organism quantity type. Occurrence status, because absent is not recorded, present for everything, right? There's no occurrence remarks if you see on the log. Scientific name, Zygenia austerodensis. And based on the scientific name, you can always provide more information on the higher taxonomy, starting from kingdom to species that we in Darwin core call species epithet. And taxon rank is something I feel is very important, which is not in the template. When the species has been identified up to the species level, you write it as species. If it has only been identified up to genus level, you write it as genus. Genera, if it is only identified up to the family level, then you write it as family. So taxon rank is all about that. Abdullah, you have your hand up.
Yes, I have a question. So when a species name or the common name is handwritten and slightly uncertain, and like if we read it correctly, should we enter the best interpretation in the scientific name and then document the uncertainty in the occurrence remarks, or should we leave the name exactly as written? This is the first question. The second question is if there's uncertainty in the species level, so it's identified up to the genus level, and then there's uncertainty in the species level. In the taxon rank, so should we put genus because this is the last certain one, or the species because there's uncertainty?
So first, the answer to your second question. If that is the case, if you're uncertain about the species, I think it's better not to write anything on the species epithet, right? You're just confirmed up to genus, so write genus. And in scientific name, also you provide the genus as a scientific name. You do not provide species here at all. And then in taxon rank, you say it's identified only up to genus level. Does that make it clear?
And then I mentioned the uncertainty. I mean, for the log you're opening, because I did those. Like the first example is the record is not certain about which species of those two. Should I put this remark in the occurrence remark or the genus species level? I mean,
I don't exactly remember if there is a verbatim scientific name field in Darwin Core. If that is the case, that would have been perfect. But because so sometimes what happens is there might be spelling mistakes in the original file that we have with scientific name. Sometimes there's already the name has been updated, but it will be in synonym or other names that has outdated names has been provided. So what you do is you provide whatever is in your original data in the scientific name column, and we have another column. You can verify that later on, see what is the exact name, or what is the accepted name for that species. And we have another term called accepted name uses in Darwin Core. So you can use that term to also say whether the name has been updated or this is the correct name for that particular species. But if you know that it's spelling wrong and you know what is the correct spelling, I think it's better to already provide it in scientific name, correct and provide.
Like
So that's
Andrew,
something you're
yeah,
talking about.
Andrew provided also another terms in the chat box. It's like you can use verbatim identification to
Oh, okay.
yeah
Yeah.
record the original one that
Yes.
yeah
If,
provided.
if yeah, I think original information is equally important to be documented, because sometimes whatever we think opposite might be the case. So just verbatim, I didn't know whether it's verbatim scientific name or something. So verbatim identification, it's something you can put that information into. And then because spelling name is usually something we catch, right? We can improve. So you can just write this correct scientific name in scientific name column. Did I answer your first question? I
Yes,
don't know.
thank you so much.
Okay,
This is
thank
exactly what I want.
thank you. And then the vernacular name is given here. So you just write the vernacular name in vernacular. This is a common name. You can obviously have, if you have your data set is dealing with a lot of vernacular names in different languages, then you can also have another extension that's called vernacular name extension or something like that. So there's an extension for vernacular name that you can use. And you can also tell the users that these vernacular name are from these languages. So that's also possible. And then the air temperature, sunshine, and wind is something we can incorporate in extended measurement or fact extension. So again, using the same event ID, because we want the users, I mean, we want the data to be linked, right? This is from the same event. Air temperature measurement type is air temperature, measurement value is 26, and measurement unit is degree centigrade. And sunshine measurement type is sunshine, measurement value 100, and measurement unit is percentage. There is also wind strength you can provide with the same event ID, wind strength 1, and I think it's Beaufort scale or something that's given in the use case scenario. So that's the quick demo that I wanted to show before we move into the breakout room. Do you have anything that I quickly can help answer before moving to breakout?
Yeah, I have got a question.
Yes.
If we come across with the species that are not identified into a species level, but we are sure about the genus name, for example, we have got a couple of species that we are not sure about the species, but we are sure about genus
Yes.
name. Can we use, for example, SP1, SP2, SP3? No?
So in for the standardization of scientific name in Darwin Core, I think this is something we all need to know, that SP dot, SP1, SP2, these that's how we write scientific names when we are uncertain of species for sure. But in Darwin Core, that's not allowed. So we just write whichever taxonomic hierarchy level we are confirmed up to. For example, if we just know that we are certain that this is this genus, but we do not know the species, we can just write the genus of the species in the scientific name column. And in taxon rank, you can notify that this is only identified up to genus level. You do not write species, you write genera in taxon rank. So SP1, SP2, SP is something we do not actually include in scientific name, and we have an exercise tomorrow where that's considered as an error actually when we are capturing the data. We need to remove that. So we'll do an exercise tomorrow on that.
Okay.
So should we now move into the breakout room where you will try to capture from one of the log, you try to capture the data in the template that has been provided to you?